And this also wraps up our startup pitches. Now, as a final, let's say, end to this event, we've invited Sebastian Berhold, the co-founder of IDnow. He has been scaling the solution with his co-founders since 2014, and they're now one of the most prominent startups in Germany and Europe. We met them and invested in them through a very nice coincidence. Actually, Sebastian, Said, our CEO, and myself were sitting at the same table at the Bits and Pretzels networking and came to talk about their company and their vision. We were really impressed about how they scaled it and luckily got on board. Now, Sebastian will tell us more about his key takeaways from how to scale a startup and their solution. Sebastian, the stage is yours.
Thanks a lot, Caro. Super happy to be here. Hello, everyone. And yeah, let me share the screen and tell you a little bit more about IDnow and our journey. Yeah, starting off with some nice marketing animation our team just developed. Yeah, welcome. So our mission is to make the connected world a safer place. As Caro said, my name is Sebastian Berhold. I'm one of the co-founders of the company. Currently responsible for our business development and partnership activities. And before that, I founded another startup called Amiando in the space of event registration for business events. And yeah, let me tell you a bit more about IDnow. So we offer identity verification. And what that means is that we make sure that a person that is signing up for a service or a user, a service or a product is actually who he says he is. So we make sure that all the credentials he entered, name, address, really belongs to that person in front of the mobile phone or of the webcam. And of course, I'm going to show you later a bit more how we exactly do it. But before that, I would like to talk a little bit about how we came up with the idea and a bit more about the, let's say, founding history of the company. In 2013, we were 4 founders sitting actually in one room that we sub-rented and playing around different ideas about our new company that we wanted to found. And at some point, one of our co-founders said, well, I was trying to get access to an age-restricted movie. And I don't know what kind of movie that was, but it took him 2 weeks actually to get access. And then he said, well, that cannot be in today's world. And so we looked further into this topic of verifying your identity and saw that it's actually a problem in a lot of industries, not only in the digital content industry, but also in financial services, in insurance and mobility and so on. So we talked to a lot of regulators and banks back then, and our vision, coming from a software background, was of course to solve that in a completely automated way. But unfortunately, the German regulator for financial services, the BaFin, had a, let's say, different idea in mind, and they were in 2014 opening up the market for an online method which is based on a video chat, also called Autoident. Maybe you have done it to open up a bank account at N26 or somewhere else. And so we needed to make
Sebastian,
the decision.
I'm so sorry
Yes?
to interrupt, but just quick note, I don't know if you're changing slides, but it's still the first slide, just to let you know.
I know, yeah, thanks.
Okay, perfect.
But there are some more, yeah, there are some more slides.
Perfect, thank you.
Just the intro a bit about the founding history, so to say. And then we needed to make the decision, do we want to launch this video product, which also had some shortfalls. So it involved a lot of manual work, of course, because it was not fully automated. It was also a special process, because in other countries, other, let's say, identity verification methods have been started already. But we ultimately said we need to start somewhere, and probably it will be much harder to get access to all of those customers later on, because in 2014 there was really this step change in regulation from offline to online. So before that, you could only verify your identity for, at least for financial services, if you would go to a bank branch or to a post office. And we said we wanted to be part of this journey, and just basically jumped off the cliff. And that's where we are today. So IDnow in a nutshell, right now we have a team of more than 300 people working for our company. We are active across Europe with a strong focus in UK and in France, besides, of course, the German-speaking markets, and also in Eastern Europe. We have developed our identity verification platform way beyond this initial video product. So we are now able to basically identify almost everyone across the world. So we accept ID documents from 195 countries in the world. We have roughly a bit below 300 customers, some of them using us completely globally. So not only in Europe, even in the US or in Asia. And we run actually 10 ident centers, we call them. So 10 locations also via partners, which actually perform identifications. So it reached quite some scale, and last year we did a financing round with Corsair Capital, a private equity firm, and also with participation of the Plug and Play Growth Fund. And we are super happy that Plug and Play is on board. They have been of great help even before the investment, actually. So they helped us to get access into the Middle East. So we just recently signed a contract with HSBC in Dubai. So that is really cool. And now let's take a look how the product works, or one of our product works, to get a better idea. Maybe start with some of the problems. So why is it actually this identity verification topic? Why is it such a big problem? So first of all, you have the topic of fraud. So there are a lot of fraud attacks, and actually 1/3 of those are identity thefts. Then you have a large number of fines that financial services companies particularly need to pay because they're not compliant with their onboarding. And furthermore, what we see is a more and more stricter regulation, not only in financial services, but also in other areas. For example, in Germany some years ago, suddenly you would need to identify yourself for prepaid cards, for prepaid SIM cards. So fraud is a big topic. So this is one problem our solution or our product solves. And the other one is friction, because you can imagine if you need to go somewhere offline, or even if it's a very cumbersome online process, a lot of users today simply stop the process and they're lost. Especially if you have, let's say, financial products, for example, which are rather nice to have as an additional credit card, for example. Then a user, if it doesn't work, simply drops off. So and a lot of users still say that the onboarding process is not really what they would expect, and it's not seamless. And a lot of customers, a lot of revenues is lost due to that. So if you think about that, a customer or a potential customer costs you several €100 to acquire, then it's very costly to use them in the onboarding process. So, and now I would like to quickly show you how one of our newest product works and how easy and simple it is to identify yourself. So you don't need anything else than a smartphone and an identity card. And it's also not a fake. It really detects it that fast. Of course, the ID document is blurred here due to data protection. In this step, we actually check the security features, so those green holograms, if they are actually on the ID card, which provides further security. And here we check the face against the ID document, and we also can check whether you are a real person with a liveness detection. And that's basically it. This is what we call Autoident. This is pretty much what we originally envisioned when we founded the company. And this is also the newest product that we roll out now across Europe. And I think that is comes pretty close to a very easy and seamless onboarding experience. So what value do we provide to our customers or to our business customers? I think one big topic is, of course, we solve this KYC topic, so know your customer. In many industries, not only financial services, there's simply laws and regulation in place that basically force you to do it. Yeah, and we just help companies to comply with those regulations. The other one is exceed customer expectations. So nowadays, probably a lot of customers know that for some services, they need to identify themselves, and we can offer a very easy and seamless, but still secure and compliant solution for that, and have a very pleasant onboarding experience for the end user. Then, of course, we have the fraud topic that I already mentioned. And then also you have lower operational costs, because in a lot of cases, companies had their own KYC teams in the background and then still double checking a lot of, let's say, onboarded users to make sure that everything is correct. And basically you can skip that step with our solution. So who needs identity verification? I mentioned financial services a lot, and I think that is pretty obvious. Account openings, consumer credits, credit cards, but it's actually also a topic for a lot of other industries. Mobility is one where driver's license are checked, whether they have the right to drive. You have insurance companies trying to digitize all the customer touch points, including then a kind of a service portal where you can have access to all your insurance documents. Telco, I already mentioned, pre and postpaid cards. You have account opening for certain e-commerce topics, and many more industries. So, and we are just, let's say, expanding into all of those. So our heritage was really in financial services. So we have strong, let's say, security background, and now a lot of other verticals follow. And some of our customers you can see here, which is already quite, let's say, a colorful mix in terms of industries, and also, I would say, the new and the old world. So we have fintechs and let's say very innovative challengers in our product portfolio, but we also have, let's say, the established brands that, of course, also want to improve their onboarding experience and delight their customers. And last but not least, how we actually do it. We offer not only one identity product, but we offer different identity products via a platform. And you, as the business customer, and then also the end user, can basically choose what's the best method that you want to use. Autoident I already showed. Video ident is the method with a live video chat. Bank ident is actually identification method where you use your existing bank account and do a wire transfer. eID is a method where you leverage the NFC technology on passports and identity cards to read out the data, which is, of course, a rather new method, but with a lot of potential for the future. And it's, of course, very convenient and also very secure. And we combine all those identity methods also with electronic signatures in order to sign contracts. So be it consumer loans, leasing contracts, but also telecommunication contracts, and so on. So let's say all kind of contracts were in a B2C context where let's say there's a sensitive service or product behind it. And this is also where we see the future. So if we look to the next years, our aim is to have the most relevant identity methods in our platform to always offer the best portfolio to our business customers and also to our end users, to ultimately drive the best customer experience and therefore also the highest success rates in onboarding. So yeah, that was it basically. Quick overview of IDnow, what we do, our product portfolio, and yeah, thank you very much. And now looking forward to some Q&A.
Thank you so much, Sebastian, and sorry for interrupting you again. But still, I think you gave us a lot of good insight on how you scale the company and what you guys can provide now. We already have a first question. Do you think that facial recognition will come to Europe for verification?
Sorry, what was the question about facial recognition?
If you think it will come to Europe for verification purposes.
If it comes to Europe, or sorry?
So currently the status is that in China, for instance, or like in the Asian region, you can already use facial recognition for verification purposes. And of course, in Europe, that's still not kind of feasible with GDPR, etc. So do you believe that that's going to be a trend that will come to Europe? Okay.
So, well, let's say facial recognition in the onboarding process, as we also saw it here, or as I presented it, is already there. Yeah. So we use facial recognition and face comparison and liveness to compare data. I think if we look at, let's say, public surveillance and facial recognition and storage of data in order to have like a database of all the people to then be able to recognize a face again, I would doubt that this will come anytime soon, because I think Europe just values let's say privacy, data privacy, and also liberty much more than China.
No, and I mean, I also think that would be a very scary vision if that would become true.
Yes.
So another question is probably from someone in the esport gaming industry. They're asking if you have any use cases for them and how you're connected with CRIF, CRIF, if you know what that is.
Yep. So yeah, I think we just started to look into that, and I know that we are in contact with some of the esports, e-gaming companies already. So whether there is a use case, I think if there is some kind of age restriction law, which you have in some games, then for sure there is a use case. Also, if you have certain tournaments, for example, where you want to make sure that people who signed up for the tournament are then really the people who are playing. So these would be use cases I definitely see. We have quite a lot of sports betting customers already. And to the question regarding Criff is one of our partners in a sense that they resell our solution. So a customer can either use the IDnow services via Criff, via our partner, or they can use us directly. And what makes most sense really, I think, depends on the use case and on what other services the customer might need.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense looking forward if there's going to be some future cases in that industry, because if it's really growing, so it could be very interesting.
Definitely.
One more question regarding the competitors. How do you compare to Onfido?
I think to Onfido, we compare mainly in two different ways. So one way is that we offer not only one identity method, which is what Onfido does. So Onfido basically offers this Autoident product that I showed in the beginning. Whereas, and this has certain limitations in terms of regulation and countries that you can cover. And there we have a much broader identity method portfolio. I think so, especially for international customers, that is extremely valuable. And that's also what we see, because if you want to do business in Germany, you don't get around a video ident or bank ident or an eID. And the second thing is, even with the Autoident product, this security feature check that was part of the Autoident product, where we check holograms and the optical variable characteristics of the ID document. This is also which is very unique, and we are right now the only company that offers such a high security standard in this kind of product.
Yeah, but I think it's going to become way more important. I mean, of course, as you guys started in Germany, that also already puts you out to a very high regulation. So yeah, thanks for kind of highlighting that USP again. This question goes a bit into what has already been asked. So will the verification happen via the remote identification with real IDs, or do you see the nationwide digital identity coming?
So a nationwide digital identity we have in a way which is the eID, or in German Neuer Deutscher Personalausweis, which is this online functionality of the identity card. So we have that already, and actually the majority of identity cards is also, let's say, is activated to do that. I think the main problem right now is the awareness and the knowledge of the PIN, and this might change, but it could well take a lot of years until that really is fully adopted. And in the meantime, there are, let's say, different identity methods that I think are also relevant. Yeah, and so we have the approach that we are a bit agnostic in that sense. So we believe that will ultimately be a bit similar to the payment industry, where you have different identity methods in different countries, because a lot of governments actually want to control the identity methods and issue identity methods. And then there are also private initiatives. And so, but as a business, you don't really care that much. You just want to have this topic solved, and that's what we are for.
Thank you very much. Maybe a last question to wrap up. We also have some students in the audience today. And there's one question: what is your key advice for young founders?
One key advice for young founders.
Or you can also share 3 key advices, but what's your main kind of advice to them?
I think if you are really passionate about, let's say, bringing your own ideas to life, then you cannot start early enough. So just already start while you are studying to, let's say, implement or come up with ideas and try them out, because it's all a learning process, and you cannot study entrepreneurship. You ultimately need to do it. Yeah? So the earlier you start, the better.
Thank you so much. And yeah, that's also the end of our session today. Sebastian, thank you so much for sharing your insights and presenting IDnow.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.